What if I told you that your morning walk could be one of the most powerful fat-burning tools you have, but almost nobody is using it correctly? It has nothing to do with how fast you walk, how long you go, or which route you take. The thing that matters most is something that happens before you even step outside. There is a specific window in the morning when your body is primed to burn stored fat, and most people close that window before they take a single step. If you have ever walked consistently for weeks, even months, and looked down to find that your belly has barely changed, you are not alone and you are not broken. Millions of people walk every single day and get almost no fat loss from it. Not because they are lazy, but because of one specific mistake that almost every walking guide completely ignores. They tracked their steps, they bought the shoes, they set the alarm early, they did everything the advice told them to do, and the weight barely moved. After months of consistency with no visible results, most people blame themselves. They assume they need to walk faster, walk longer, or just try harder, but the answer is none of those things. The reason the belly fat is not moving has nothing to do with the walk itself. It has everything to do with what happened in the hour before you started walking. Meet Marcus. He is 42, works a desk job, and started walking 30 minutes every morning 6 months ago after his doctor told him he needed to lose some belly weight. Marcus was consistent. Rain or shine, alarm at 6, shoes on by 6:15. He even started eating salads for lunch and cutting back on his evening snacks. After 3 months, he had lost a couple of pounds, but his belly looked almost exactly the same. His clothes fit the same. He felt defeated and honestly a little embarrassed. He did not give up. He just quietly stopped believing it was going to work. And that quiet doubt is exactly where most people are when they come across this information. But here's what almost nobody realizes. The fat loss from walking does not happen during the walk. It happens in the metabolic state your body is in when the walk begins. That metabolic state is controlled almost entirely by one hormone. A hormone that most people have been unknowingly spiking every single morning right before their walk. Insulin is the hormone that manages blood sugar. When it is high, your body is in storage mode. When it is low, your body shifts into fat-burning mode. It is essentially a biological switch. Every time you eat or drink something with calories, insulin rises. Even a small rise is enough to flip that switch from fat-burning to fat storing. It does not take much to shut the window. So when Marcus ate his healthy banana and drank his coffee with a splash of cream before his walk, he was unknowingly shutting off his body's ability to burn stored fat. And this is where it gets interesting. His walk was not useless. He was burning calories, but he was burning the food he just ate, not the fat stored around his belly. The tank was full. Insulin is produced by your pancreas the moment food enters your digestive system. Its job is to take glucose from your blood and move it into your cells for energy or store it as fat. When you are in a fasted state, meaning you have not eaten for several hours, your insulin levels drop close to their lowest point. This is your body's natural fat-burning window. In that low insulin state, your body has no choice but to look for another fuel source, and the fuel it turns to is the stored fat sitting in your fat cells, including the fat around your belly. At the same time, a hormone called growth hormone rises during fasting. Growth hormone actively breaks down fat tissue and helps preserve muscle. It works directly against fat storage. Growth hormone peaks overnight while you sleep and stays elevated into the morning hours, but only as long as insulin remains low. The two hormones work in direct opposition to each other. So the fasted morning hours are not just empty time before breakfast. They're a carefully timed biological opportunity that your body creates every single night while you sleep. When you combine this fasted state with low-intensity movement like walking, you give your body a demand for energy at exactly the moment it is most willing to pull from fat stores. Walking is ideal because it relies heavily on your aerobic energy system, which uses fat as its primary fuel at lower intensities, unlike sprinting or heavy lifting, which burns sugar. The combination of low insulin, elevated growth hormone, and aerobic movement creates what researchers describe as a fat oxidation window. This is when belly fat is most accessible as fuel. But timing is everything. This window does not stay open all day. Once you eat, insulin rises, the window closes, and your body shifts its priority away from stored fat immediately. Most people eat within 30 minutes of waking up. That single habit, which feels responsible and healthy, closes the fat-burning window before they ever get moving. The gap between waking and eating determines how much of that fasted fat-burning window you can use. Even a 30-minute walk before breakfast is enough to make a measurable difference. Think of your body like a hybrid car. It can run on two fuel types, stored sugar called glycogen or stored fat. When the sugar tank is full, it never touches the fat tank. Fasting overnight depletes the sugar tank just enough that when you start walking in the morning, your body reaches for the fat tank first. That is the whole mechanism. That is it. So what habits are silently keeping this from working? The first one is the morning coffee add-in. A splash of creamer, a teaspoon of sugar, a flavored syrup, each one spikes insulin. The second habit is the so-called healthy pre-walk snack. A banana, a handful of granola, a protein bar before heading out. These are all food, and all food raises insulin before you start. The third habit is eating immediately after waking out of routine rather than hunger. Many people eat breakfast first thing simply because the clock says it is time, not because they are actually hungry. The fourth is the post-walk recovery drink consumed before the walk is even finished. Fruit juice, sports drinks, and blended smoothies all carry enough sugar to end the fat-burning window immediately. In the evenings, a late-night snack keeps insulin elevated during the early hours of sleep. That delays the overnight fast and shortens the fat-burning window you wake up with the next morning. On weekends, many people sleep in and then eat a large brunch before their walk. The timing shift alone can eliminate the fasted window entirely, even if every other habit during the week was perfect. And the difficult thing is, none of these habits feel like mistakes. They feel responsible. They feel like you are fueling your body. But biologically, they are closing the exact window you need open. But here's the thing. Once you understand the mechanism, the fix requires almost no willpower at all. It is just a shift in order, not a sacrifice of anything you enjoy. The reframe is this. Your body is not resistant to fat loss. It has simply been receiving signals telling it to store fat, and you did not know you were sending them every morning. When you stop sending those storage signals in the morning, your body does exactly what it was designed to do. It uses stored energy. It burns the fat it has been holding on to. The lever is the walk itself, but placed before the first meal of the day. That one change in sequence, not duration, not intensity, completely changes what fuel your body uses during the walk. In the fasted state, your body has already been running on fat overnight. The morning walk simply extends that process and deepens how much fat gets pulled from storage before the window closes. This is not a biohack. There is no supplement involved, no extreme fasting protocol. It is simply walking before you eat, the way humans naturally moved before breakfast existed as a structured concept. Marcus was not failing because he lacked discipline. He was failing because he had the sequence backward. And that is not a character flaw. It is just information he did not have yet. The solution is straightforward. Walk before your first meal. That is the core change. Everything else builds on top of that single shift in the daily sequence. In practice, it looks like this. You wake up, drink water if needed, and head out for your walk before touching food. No pre-walk snack, no caloric coffee, nothing with calories before you go. The moment your body begins moving in a fasted state, it ramps up fat oxidation. Within the first 10 to 15 minutes of walking, stored fat becomes the primary fuel being burned. The most common concern is feeling weak or dizzy without eating first. For most healthy people, a low-intensity 30-minute walk is well within what the body can handle. Overnight glycogen stores are enough. You do not need to walk for an hour. 30 minutes is enough. Even 20 minutes of fasted walking produces measurably more fat oxidation than a fed walk of the same pace and duration. You do not need to be perfect. If you eat first on some mornings, the world does not end. The goal is to get fasted walks in more often than not and let consistency do the compounding over time. In the first week, most people notice subtle things. A little more energy in the afternoon, slightly less morning bloating, clothes feeling marginally different even before the scale has moved at all. By weeks 2 through 4, if the habit holds, the body adapts. Fat oxidation efficiency increases, meaning your body gets better and faster at using stored fat as fuel during each walk. Think of your body like a home heating system. It has 2 heat sources, a fast gas burner powered by food, and a slower oil tank powered by stored fat. The gas burner always runs first if it has fuel. When the gas supply runs low overnight, the system automatically switches to the oil tank. Fasted walking is like turning up the thermostat right at that moment, forcing the oil tank to work harder. If you refuel the gas supply right before turning up the thermostat, the system never needs the oil tank at all. That is exactly what eating before your walk does. The stored fat stays completely untouched. Another way to see it, your fat cells are like a savings account. Your food is the checking account. Your body always spends from checking first. Fasting overnight runs checking low. The body responds slowly and it responds consistently. Intensity does not shortcut the biology, but patience combined with the right sequence compounds over time in ways that genuinely add up. Tomorrow morning, before you eat anything, put on your shoes and walk for 20 minutes. Notice how you feel during the walk and notice your hunger when you return. That is the whole experiment.